All right, hi, it's Richard Moore from S.P.I.N here. I had a question today from one of the people on our course who wanted a bit more information on effective questioning. So when it comes to establishing real needs of your customer, it's important to ask the right kind of questions. It's really as simple as this. When you get the mindset that instead of trying to sell someone something, you're trying to help them buy, all of a sudden you become more of a consultant rather than a bit of an irritant, really, which is, if we all agree, really, I think that no one really wants to be sold to, or at least be conscious they're being sold to. So it's important to come across in the way that you focus more on helping build value and create a sale around what someone actually might want, rather than trying to come across like you're ramming something down their throat, really. So there's a really simple technique to this, especially when time's an issue. You know, one of the clients I work with, their sales calls typically last between 20 minutes and a half an hour, and so there really is limited time to establish rapport and understand need and things like that. And as a result, you need to make sure that you make the most of your time and in turn be effective with the questions you ask. So there's a chap called Professor Neil Rackham who famously built the S.P.I.N concept, and I think he's visiting professor at Cranfield University here in the UK, and in fact somewhere else, a couple of other places as well. And it's really simple. There's 4 types of questions. They need to be asked in a particular order as well, in order to get the buyer in a particular state where not only they're giving you information around specifically what they need, so you can simply talk about the products that will meet that need, but also to get them in a state where they feel like they want to buy something. So S.P.I.N, S-P-I-N, stand for the types of question you're going to ask. Really simply, the S in S.P.I.N stands for situation or situational questions, and here you're establishing just the background. So what is the situation, what's their background, bit of context around what their business is, and things like that, and you're really getting the buyer out of their shell and establishing a situation where they are starting to talk about what needs they might have. P stands for problem questions. So here's where you start talking about what the current issues are. So what are the problems that this person has? Once you've established what problems they have, what's going to happen is they start, even though they know what their problems are, they're starting to say these things out loud. It makes them feel, do you know what? It really does bring home the idea, the problems that I have at the moment, and they start opening up, and you're getting them into a really good emotional state to position them for a sell. I question stands for implication, and here, instead of talking about the current situation with problems, you're talking more about the future. So the implication is simply getting that buyer in a position where they're starting to talk about what might happen, or how they would feel, or what the consequences are of actually not solving this problem that they've just highlighted to you. So implications, very powerful. You can see why it needs to be done in this particular order, because really simply you need to make sure that person's starting to say, oh yeah, do you know what, it's gonna really hurt if I don't sort this out, if I don't invest in solving this problem. And again, even though, just like with problem questions, even though they know what the problems are, unless you're getting them to say it out loud, then you're missing something. And finally, N is need. It's as simple as that. What are the needs? Once they're in a position where they're telling you what the implication of not solving that problem is, you can literally say, so what would the solution look like? If you had a magic wand, what would happen? Or what do you need? And then they would say, well, do you know what? Given what I've just said, here's the problem. Here's what happened if I don't do it. This is actually what I want. And all the while you're acknowledging, you're saying, yeah, okay, and you're helping them lubricate the conversation, helping them to talk more, and you're simply taking down the notes. They then give you the ammunition you need to attribute what they believe their needs should be to your particular product. Sometimes it's important to help a customer in the sense that they don't really know what they want and you have to nudge them along. But when someone says to you what they specifically need, all of a sudden what you think might be of value to them doesn't really matter. It's what they think they need. And actually, if you can serve them in some sense, even if you are tuning your product or service to meet those needs, they're going to feel, because of the negative state they're in, because of talking about problems and needs, absolutely like you are their knight in shining armor. So with that in mind, it's important to get them to say the need. When you ask them need questions, you need to get them to visualize it by verbalizing what their problems are. So visualize and verbalize, really crucial, because then they'll be saying, oh, wow, yeah, I mean, if I could just have X, or if I could just have someone who could coach me through Y, that would solve that problem. It means in 6 months' time, I don't have this major headache. I've got people off my back, and you're in there. You're helping that person buy, okay, as opposed to selling something to them. And it's not only is it more effective, it gives you higher ticket sales, but also it's more fulfilling for you as well. It's much more, I suppose what I'm saying is there's a difference between someone buying something and someone really wanting something. And I always prefer to make sure I get a sale by getting someone to kind of run at me, as opposed to dragging them, kicking and screaming over the line. So bear in mind, spin questions in that order. Don't muck about, ask the right questions, listen carefully, and they will tell you what they actually need. You simply then lock it into what you provide, and it is actually that simple. They will then start saying things like, do you know what, you just get me, thank you so much, and where do I sign, which is always a pleasing thing to hear. Okay, good luck, try out spin questions, and I'll speak to you soon.